What's up, YouTube? This is a review of the new Targus case for the iPad 3. This is an update to the iPad 2 version, and they've made some improvements, so I want to share that with you. So first, this is the front of the case with the iPad 3 in it. You have a area where the stylus goes. I'm not really a big fan of it. I don't need that. And there's also a lip that is used to prop up the iPad when you are typing. So I'll show you those a little bit later. So that's the front. It opens up like this. It snaps. It's pretty secure. And also the cover has a magnet, so it functions like the smart cover does to turn on and off the iPad, and that works pretty well in this version. So that's the front of it. This is the back of the case. It feels like it's a nice kind of like pseudo leather finish, and the iPad fits securely. One of the complaints I have is I feel Targus sacrificed protection for style by adding this, by showing off the Apple logo. I think aesthetically it looks pretty cool, but I would prefer that it would be more flush like the iPad 2 version of this case. So now I'm going to open up the case so you can see the inside. So this is how it looks on the inside. You have the iPad, it snaps in, it's pretty secure. It snaps in here at the top and also here at the bottom, and then also on all four sides it snaps. So this is a pretty secure case. On the inside of it, you have two grooves that are used as to give you angle options. This is something I really like about this case in comparison to, say, the smart cover, which I feel doesn't really offer that. Okay, so now I'm going to take the iPad out and just show you the case on the inside. So this is how it looks on the inside. The iPad 2 version of this case had blue. This is gray. I kind of like the blue better, but you know, that's fine. And then also notice this bends, which you're going to see why in a little bit later. So now we'll put the iPad back in. It's pretty easy to do. All you do is you snap it in place, and it's pretty snug. So that's the inside and outside, front and back. Okay, now we're going to get into the function. So like I said, you have a couple of different viewing angles. So the way you do this is you remove the bottom two latches that it's holding the iPad together, and you can slide it in these grooves here. So this is the first angle that you have, which is good if you want to like view maybe a movie or something like that, like you're watching a movie or a YouTube video or what have you. Also, you could use it for reading, but it's pretty much straight. There's not much of an angle there. Okay, so then the next angle that you get is like this, which is going to be better if you want to do sort of like reading or something like that, of like articles or going on Safari or what have you. But it's a little difficult to type on that angle. So that's those are the two angles that they provide. Now, there is a third angle that they provide that is optimized for typing and reading, and this is a new addition over the previous version of this case, which was for the iPad 2. So what you're going to do is you're going to flip over, and you're going to use that lip that I talked about at the beginning that's right next to the stylus loop, and you slide the iPad into that lip. Okay, let me see if I can get a close-up of that. See? You have the iPad up like this, you slide it into the lip, and then that allows you to type while reading. And I feel like this is the optimal view, the optimal angle rather, for typing and reading. The others, you don't really have an easy way to type. Now this typing is a little bit high for me sometimes, but if I'm going to be doing something like taking notes on some notes that I have for school or something like that, and I want to be able to edit the PDF by typing on it, if I want to be able to read and type, this is the best angle by far. However, if I wanted to do something like type a Word document, there is another angle that you can do that's a custom angle that I found, which works like this. So you have the two grooves that are here and here. You slide it past those two grooves, and you actually lay the iPad in this spot right here. Okay, that's the only spot angle that was available for the iPad 2 version of this case, so that this the previous angle that I showed you where you're able to type and read is actually an improvement. However, it makes it difficult if you just want to straight type and not actually read. This angle as is not very good for reading because it's more flat. So what you can do is, one of the reasons that this case is improved over the previous version is that other view that I showed you before, but I still like to be able to use this for typing. So the problem with this angle for typing is when you type, you'll see that the iPad's going to bounce a little bit. You can kind of see that going back and forth. So the way to deal with this situation is you can take a pen, really doesn't matter what pen, you can choose whichever one you want, and you slide this up and you put a pen right behind in the groove. Okay, so that's going to allow you to type. It raises the angle for typing, and also depending on how high you want your angle, you can adjust the pen and you put it a little deeper or a little more shallow if you want it more flat. So those are all of the angles that are available to you. You have 4 angles, so let me review those real quick. You have this first slot that they provide you. Then you have this second slot. You have the third angle that's a custom angle that you're basically just putting a pen behind it, which allows you, I think, to type the best. One of the things I like about the smart cover is I feel like the angle for typing is pretty close to the level that is natural for how I place my hands. So I feel like this is a good angle, the best angle if you want to just type a note, let's say an Evernote or something else like a Google document or an email. But if you want to be able to read, this angle is not so good for that. As you can see, it's pretty much flat, and that's one of my main complaints with the smart cover. So they have the 4th angle that is where you slide it with this lip. And I feel like the lip is pretty sturdy. I hope that it stands the test of time. But that's the angle that Targus has added to this case, which is a huge improvement over the last one. So that's all the angles that in terms of the function. So my pros and cons, just to summarize, I feel like aesthetically this is a really nice looking case. It feels like it's really well constructed. I like that Targus has offered 4 different angles, 3, and then the 4th one that's sort of the custom angle, but I think that I don't know if they thought about that or not, but it gives you 4 angles. Also, you have a spot available here for a lot of cases will cover up the speakers. This one has a cutout here so that you don't have the sound muffled. Also, you don't have to take it out of the case in order to charge. It also has spots for the webcam, so that's not covered either, which is nice, the backward camera. And obviously the microphone here and the headphone jack are also not covered. So I like the look of the case. I like the sturdiness of the case. I like that it snaps in comparison to the smart cover, which I feel like it's going to break if I drop it. I feel like this one's pretty secure. My cons are I feel that the angle that Targus has added, although it's nice they added an angle for typing, I feel like this angle is a little bit too high for my taste. I feel like if it was a little bit lower, it'd be nicer, but just a little bit. So that's a complaint. It's a small complaint, but it's one. I also think that they've sacrificed stability and protection for aesthetics by having this spot right here. I don't really need that, and I feel like although the case, I feel, does protect it pretty well, I don't see why they did that. That was a difference from the previous version of this case. So sorry this video is a little bit long. I also don't really feel there's a need for this place for the stylus. I have a stylus for the iPad and it doesn't fit very well in here. So if they were going to include a lip for the stylus, they should have made it so it would fit a standard stylus. This one will fit maybe a thinner, like a bamboo version of an iPad stylus. So I don't really need that. So overall, I'm really happy with this case. I think that it's the best case by far available for the iPad 3. I also think that if you have an iPad 2, that the Targus is the best case available for the iPad 2. So that's my review. Again, I'm sorry that it's so long. I tried to include all the important points, and I hope it helps you make a decision of whether you want to purchase this case or not. Thanks for listening.